A few comments about, I think a lot of people here probably are familiar with U.S. Council for International Business. Maybe not our work with ILO, but but I think it's important to note that we are also the U.S. industry representative to the Business and Industry Advisory Committee to the OECD, and so through that organization, which is composed of business organizations from all the countries that are members of the OECD, we then provide business input into the work that Ken does and others at the OECD. We're very appreciative of the relationship we have with Ken and his team in particular in terms of working on the trade issues. And I wanted to highlight that because I wanted to comment from the perspective of BIAC, which had just been provided input into the most recent OECD ministerial, just finished 2 weeks ago. And I wanted to, the reason I was hanging on to this was because there's some quotes I wanted to just use. So it's just interesting that the ministerial, what was the title of it, was Enhancing Productivity for Inclusive Growth. So they came out with a one-page conclusion document, which is very concise, but I wanted to highlight two particular findings from that. First, the minister said, we recognize the need to boost trade and investment to both foster productivity and inclusive and sustainable growth. And second, they called on the OECD to promote measures to ensure a level playing field for business by assessing the factors affecting the well-functioning of markets and market entry or exit in specific markets, including those associated with R&D, support, regulation, obstacles to trade, and foreign investment, competition, and taxation. And I just wanted to highlight that because prior to the ministerial, BIAC had provided 10 recommendations to the OECD, and I won't go through all 10, but I wanted to just mention a few because they echo some of the comments that Mr. Maria made. Sure. There, I think, are reflective of the things that we think from the business standpoint that are critical to increasing trade and inclusive growth there. I mean, one, of course, is just trying to eliminate barriers, cross-border barriers to trade. That deals with things you talked about, the trade facilitation, eliminating impediments to services trade, and other barriers that are particularly important to our members, such as forced localization types of requirements or data localization requirements. These are all things that are going to be critical to our companies that are trying to operate through these global value chains. A second area was dealing with regulatory, good regulation and regulatory cooperation. There it's important from our business standpoint that they have very transparent, predictable regulatory environments to operate in, and then we try to have a way for these, the more that they are, there's international cooperation on these, the easier it is for trade to move and flourish. But they also added some other elements that good regulation can help us in terms of providing, combating anti-corruption, and sometimes people don't think about those things as how important they are to bringing more people into the formal economy, which then helps with the inclusiveness, I think, aspect of the benefits of trade. A third area was being, environments that are conducive to investment. These, we think, are rule of law, well-functioning dispute settlement agreements, non-discriminatory treatment. These are all important. If you want companies to take the risk of investing in foreign countries, they need to feel that there is an environment that they can be safe and their investment can be safe. And then we go to things like we're encouraging lifelong learning here. These, again, things you were hearing from the Secretary General. It's important in this day and age that we're constantly developing our skills. It's important for the businesses. They can't operate. A lot of times you're surprised to find that they don't feel like they can find the qualified people they need to operate effectively in the country or globally. And this, of course, obviously is helping the individuals develop the skills they need to constantly adapt to what are the jobs that are available. I mean, related to that is the encouraging policies that will move forward, have countries being more productive in terms of innovation in the digital economy. I mean, given the changes and the extent to which the digital economy is prevailing globally, the adaptation of skills is really important. And even further related to that was recommendation on flexible labor markets related to helping employees be able to adapt to changes, providing adjustment, providing programs that mitigate the costs of transitions that are caused by changes in technology or trade. So those were a lot of the recommendations that BIAC was providing that I think you would, were similar to the things you were hearing from the Secretary General.
Okay.